Patrons, welcome to the first bonus bonus audio riff track, the first director's commentary on a classic PCP episode. This is a thing that we said as a joke that we would do, but of course, if that means we got to do it for real, and this is what you're getting. So we got me, we got Digi, we got Tom, and we got Gib.
Yeah.
And we are going to be listening to the first episode 1 of the Pro Crastinators podcast, Best Game Ever. We are going to be listening to it and commentating on it as we go. So if you want to listen along with us, go find that episode. It's on our YouTube channel. And we're going to count down and say 3, 2, 1, go. And on go, hit play at the very beginning. And we will be synced up. And you can listen to us have feelings about the things we once said and believed, all the way back on December 23rd, 2015. Jesus fucking Christ. Jesus.
A different world.
I have absolutely no memory of anything that happened, aside from the fact that we talk about Undertale.
Yeah.
I'm going to bet that I can predict just the entire conversation because I still remember what everyone's take on Undertale is. So it's just going to be exactly what we all remember our takes being. Oh yeah, that's right. Ben loved Undertale, and
I know that
sure
my
loved
take
Undertale, and
my take has evolved a bit. I don't think, spoiler, I don't know if I'm going to agree with my 2015 self that Undertale is the best game ever.
Ooh.
Really, the fun part in this will be like just remembering the way we used to speak and the things that were like memes at the time and be like, oh god, I remember when we were doing that.
I had a really bad microphone. I had like a $30 microphone that Nate had just like given me because he didn't want it anymore. So looking forward to that. And Tom, you're not even on this episode.
I'm not.
Lamau.
I can't wait to add my opinions to this 5-year-old conversation for the first time.
Did you ever watch the PCP ever?
That's a good question. Did you ever listen to this episode?
If I did, I think I did back in like 2017 because like that's when I was working the shitty overnight job, and I was just binging like all the episodes just to kill time while I was doing the rounds and stuff. So I did this like 3 years ago, and I don't remember any of it.
I can't believe this fucking podcast has been going for 5 fucking years almost.
It's
it's fucked up.
It's terrifying. It's really the worst thing ever.
Well, I'll tell you, back then I was listening to all the episodes, and I was like, because I know I was the only person who would listen to them after they were recorded. And
I mean, I was on almost every episode, and I didn't bother to listen back to ones that I was on.
Nobody did, except for me.
Ones that I missed. But ones that I missed, I would. Yeah. Okay.
But like, I would listen to all of them, and I was on most of them. You, me, and Nate were all on like almost all of them at the beginning. But like, and I edited a lot of them, and like, I was like, just like, this podcast is really fucking good. Like, that was always my mentality from the very start. I was like, this is actually a really good podcast, and I really wish we would like promote it more and find some way to make it blow up. But it was really hard, especially because nobody else seemed to think it was that good. And like,
well, we can find out right now.
Let's see how it holds up.
Not that the audience didn't. I meant nobody else on the podcast seemed to think it was that good.
I don't know. Where do you even promote something like this?
Yeah, I never figured that out. Well, it's like, because our audience is like the most. Like, our audience is like kids who literally grew up on us and nothing else. God. And so it's like there's no connectivity to anything else. It's just like a weird cult we've created of.
Hell yeah. Should we start? I'm gonna count down. I'm gonna say 3, 2, 1, go, and on go, listeners hit play, and we will hear. It's gonna take us back to the past.
Yeah.
And listen to the podcast. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, look at that avatar of mine.
Yeah.
An oldie but goodie.
That piercing stare of madness.
See, this was a good episode to do for this, because this is before we had all of that production value that we eventually got rid of. So
yeah.
I
It's so
said
quiet.
You were a hypocrite. At the
I
time.
introduced myself by
Well,
saying that I smoke a lot of weed and promote black stereotypes, which was not true at the time, but is completely true now.
I introduced myself as doing the vapors. This was before the CWC lecture became the thing I was known for.
It's a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. This was before RadCon was even just a glimmer in any of our eye.
Oh God, you're right.
Yeah, RadCon was 2016, so
Right at the end of 2016.
So you weren't living at Digi's place yet, right, Ben? This is like pre
No.
no, way before
Holy
that.
shit.
Yes. I think at this point I was living in the same house that I live in right now.
Yeah.
Some things change, some things stay the same.
What? Why is Nate bringing up Undertale right out the gate?
I think it's
Is
because
this his vote?
we were talking about this before in the chat,
I believe
and Nate
Well,
was like, "We should do a podcast about this," and we were like, yeah, all right." This is where it all started.
Oh, it's because of like Undertale beat like that it beat like Mass Effect 3 in that like game facts
right,
poll or
Well,
something,
right.
right?
it straight up won the best game ever poll. Like, and it was
Okay.
because the game had just come out and blown up. So like,
all the hype.
Yeah. Jesse has not said a word.
Did he not
maybe
introduce
he's
himself?
not at the start or something. I don't.
Maybe I
remember
missed
hearing
it.
him.
Jesse is so unhappy with the podcast in general that he's retroactively gone back and removed himself from all the old episodes, and we're only now realizing.
I mean, obviously, if he could do that, he probably would.
Absolutely.
Why? I don't understand.
I mean,
That's
he
just
would
a
do
Jesse-
that to all
it's
of
just
his.
a Jesse
what
move.
harm did the podcast ever do to him?
I think he would do that to all appearances, unscripted appearances he's ever had on the internet, probably.
Hmm.
God, that Endless Dress illustration is so good, though.
That's by the Cinemasochist, right?
Yeah.
I believe so.
I'm trying to remember
We
like
also-
the beginning of this discussion of deciding to do a podcast was like we were talking about the whether it was good that it won the best game ever. And Nate had a whole big point, and this is why he wanted to make a podcast about it.
Me and Digi, I think both of us sound like we're like speaking more like lethargically, and like
Yeah.
our voices sound deeper,
Our voices are lower and like I don't know.
lower
if-
and softer.
I don't know if
or
it's
not
that-
softer, but like more lazy. I don't know.
I think
Slower?
that for me at the time, it's that in order for me to speak more clearly, I had to speak with a lower and slower voice. Because, like, my natural voice is more slurred and southern and, like, higher pitched. So, like, I think I was, like, because I had not gotten used to doing podcasts all the time necessarily, like, I had to kind of. Because I could tell Nate as well is nowhere near as good of a loose speaker as he is now. Like, you could tell the practice of doing this show and all his live streams has improved.
I sound like I've got fucking mucus in my throat. I don't know what's wrong with my. Why do I sound like that?
Undertale sure is a good game.
Hey,
Yeah.
how about that soundtrack? I don't think Mage has said a word either. It's funny.
That's how it was.
She will eventually start talking about, like, Metaton and shit, I think.
Yeah, there was a time at the beginning when, like, me and Nate and sometimes Digi were kind of just, like, dominated every conversation. Or I don't know, that's the meme anyway.
I think it was Nate, you, Digi, and when Jesse had, like, a reason to care about a topic, he would also be quite prominent. And the rest of us was always be, like, coming in occasionally. I don't think I could ever, like, hold a conversation or, like, a topic thing, like, early on.
What are we talking about? Like, save shenanigans and
talking about the like Undertale and what it brings to the table and like why people think it's special.
I have it at such a volume that I can hear.
All right, 6 minutes 27 seconds. The first time Ben and Nate start fighting, and something that never ended.
This was like an early that right there. What I just said, that like something's better if it happens early. Like the first year of the PCP had this arc about like me arguing that point, and I remember it came to the head with Jeff Thu. And he got into it with me on some episode or another, and then eventually it was just dropped because I don't know, it wasn't that interesting.
Yeah,
but
you forgot
that was
to
like
keep caring about it, I guess.
That was my like hill to die on for a while. Is originality trumps all. If something's new, that makes it better. Still believe it. By the way, still 100% committed to that position. Art is subjective, though. Actually, Nate, did you forget to consider the product of the human being opinions? I'm just being a contrarian.
Yeah. Hey, wait, Nate sent something. I don't know about that.
I'm contractually obligated to fight this point.
I've edited this one. It's so awkward because it's like
Nate
is leading everything, and we like have no understanding of how a podcast should go yet for us.
Nate is, I see a thread that I think continues. Nate is very focused on like keep the conversation on topic.
Yeah. Well, he was like, I feel we should just like mention that like the attitude of this podcast in the beginning, particularly from Nate, was like it has to be like a high quality product or else I will be embarrassed to be on it. And in his mind that means like there has to be like format and function and like production value, like all these very specific ideas that most of which got built up and then abandoned.
Well, I mean, at the time,
nobody
we
ever
all
proposed
thought that low quality content wouldn't even work. That was kind of like what kept us from doing podcasts for so long. It was like no one's gonna like listen to a podcast. Everything needs to be like highly edited. That was like our whole shtick.
Right. We were very wrong about that.
Oh,
like, the problem is that
incredibly wrong.
Well, and it's because literally none of us listened to podcasts at all. Like at the time, and a lot of us still don't. Like Nate does not listen to podcasts. Like
that's not true. I had just come off of listening to the Worst Idea podcast, the one where they listen to or they watch Grown Ups 2 every week and then have a podcast discussing Grown Ups 2. And I didn't have any good ideas, but I said that we should have like we should pick a theme and our podcast should be about something. But like I didn't have any ideas for what that was. Nobody else did, so it didn't happen.
Yeah, it was like we had the idea to just kind of do topics that were interesting to us. I always wanted to do media trade where like we would all have to watch something and then talk about it, but it was really hard to like find like in a like we would always be like, "Oh, I don't know if I have time to like read this thing," you know, and like but
it's not a bad idea.
You could argue that's kind of what content is.
Yeah, it pretty much is what can't. Well, and part of the thing with content has been trying to figure out like how much time investment is worthwhile for like, because like watching 4 episodes of anime takes like an hour and a half, you know. So if that's your time investment in watching something and then you get a whole fucking 30-minute podcast out of it, that's a pretty good turnover, you know. Whereas like talking about one video game that's 50 fucking hours long is not at all, you know. So like so that's kind of why that was always hard to figure out as something to do for the PCP. Like, oh, we could just like pick a show and watch it by next week, I guess, but like that's going to be however many episodes for, you know, we only really did it with the Die Buster Gunbuster one. I didn't even show up to that, but
yeah, the one time, like 5 years later.
That was like on the docket originally. That literally was on the original list of shows we were going to do.
Yeah, I think it was.
It's been on the list the entire fucking time.
Yeah. Oh man, I mean, like we learned that lesson the hard way trying to do IM games because I always felt like we were trying to speed run through everything to get like the turnaround done. And we were already putting like 8 hours a week into just like playing games, and it just wasn't enough.
That was what I like. My imagination, because of the fact that I tend to, when I play a video game, just play through it in 2 days. But I didn't really think about the fact that like, yeah, you play through in 2 days of nonstop play, and so like, you know, having 2-hour streams in a week is not enough to get through a video game every week. We would have had to have like 16 hours of streaming every week to play through a average length game.
I don't know if I ever released this video on Hypocrite, but I had an idea for a style of video where it would be like the best of the worst, but for video games. You would play a bit of them until you were like, and then you would talk about it around a table.
The only problem with that is, I mean, you'd have to establish that as the nature of the show, but like, fucking anybody who likes the game and sees you give up on it is going to flip shit, you know? You didn't fucking give it a chance! It's just like, well, that's
part of the battle. Yeah. I mean, something I wanted to do for
I mean, let them be mad.
Yeah, for game-related content, something I was thinking of doing for IM games but never got around to because I'm lazy and dumb, was like a series I was totally going to call Scratching the Itch. Is when you just find a short game on itch.io every week and just play through that and talk about it. Because there's tons of like little mini games like that on there, and just like find weird, quirky indie titles and just go through them.
I feel like that's what I've been missing. I haven't found any like little indie games to play like this year. I'm sure they're out there.
Oh, there's a ton.
But yeah, Undertale was one of those. I don't know. What do we got now? I guess I got Among Us, and I played that one time. And that's like the closest thing I've had to like discovering an indie title and being like, hey, yeah, cool.
Just gonna go on Itch. They're all there.
The most recent indie game I loved, I don't know if you would enjoy it.
There was the Humble Bundle. The Humble Bundle was a good
getting that big huge fucking bundle, and the game A Short Hike. I was a really big fan of.
I had played Short Hike before the bundle, so I already knew that one. But yeah, Short Hike's fucking great.
Same.
I love that game.
That came out recently in early access that's really good that I like is Ultra Kill. It's really fucking cool. Like, I mean, the website for it is devilmayquake.com, and it's like it describes it pretty much perfectly. It's like a retro first-person shooter with a style system, and it's really fucking cool. I'm fucking terrible.
Devilmayquake.com redirects to the Steam page.
Yeah, it's fucking great. It's a really cool game.
Don't usually do like action games. Usually like platformers. Our platformers RPGs are more my speed most of the time.
It's hard to do those in like a short burst though. If you want to do like a game series.
Yeah.
I guess something like Ebe could be done in like an hour or two. Like some
Ebe?
like the RPG Maker like horror game from like way back in the day.
IB?
Yeah, IB.
I don't know that one.
Oh yeah, it's pretty cool.
What do we think about Undertale today, guys?
I think it still holds up. I think it's great.
I have softened. I don't think it's the best game ever. I do think there's a lot to love about it.
I think what it did.
Yeah.
I think it's cool because the story itself is so integral to being a video game. It's not a story that could be done in any other medium, so it leverages the medium of games really well. But even divorced from that, the characters are just really well written.
I agree with that. I think the story is a lot more. There's a lot less going on story-wise in Undertale when you get right down to it. Like, yeah, it could only be a video game, which I appreciate about it a lot. But, like, the story itself is pretty straightforward. There's, like, I don't know, you play it through twice. It's like, you know, I get it. This guy's bad. These guys are
I mean,
good.
it's an indie game,
You know?
and because it's an indie game, I feel like it focused on one idea and fleshed it out really well, as opposed to trying to become too complex and crush under itself under its own weight. You know?
I mean, I've
game
said this
cares
before,
about
but
itself.
I think. Well, sure. I think that the gimmicks are the strongest in the demo, and like the game itself never does the gimmicks as well as the demo does, and I was a little disappointed. I think that the bit with Toriel when you kill her and then you restart the game and Flowey knows. I think that's the best part of the whole game, and everything else like never quite measures up to that.
I
moment.
think it's like almost unfair to hold the game at fault for that, because like how do you do that again? You know, like that initial realization. Like it's hard to
I don't
recreate
know.
that.
I'm not the developer.
Sure.
I think it's you can't really do. It's like a jump scare. Like you can only really get one actual jump scare out of someone when they don't expect it.
Well,
and then every other time it's like, oh, I'm anticipating one. When's it gonna scare me again? And it doesn't actually get to that.
I think it's like tough to, because I didn't play the tutorial or like the demo. I only played like the final game, and so my perspective was a little bit different. But it felt, just playing the final game divorced of the demo, is that the whole like save scumming thing didn't seem like the point of the game. It just seemed like something interesting. The games definitely seemed more interested in like this like kind of sort of pseudo morality kind of thing, and just like having like a really interesting characters, like well done, like well told story. That seemed like much more like the goal of it from like a complete perspective. But that like twist at the end of the demo really was like the standout moment of that small section. And so I think if you played that first, that became the defining moment of the sample.
For me, yeah, that's 100% true. It that's what I liked the most about the demo, and then the fact that the game itself doesn't go quite as hard on that aspect. It's like, well, okay. I mean, it does. It has the same kind of thing with the Undyne fight, and then again, you know, with the fact that like you can never really get the true good ending once you go down the evil path. It's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't abandon it.
It has good ideas, and and it does things with them, but like it's one idea. So as soon as you get that first like, whoa, it's just kind of expanding upon this idea that you've already become aware of, as opposed to finding new ways to surprise you with different variations of it.
Yeah.
25 years old now.
What is Link to the Past?
It was 5 years since this podcast came out, so however old we decided it was, it's 5 years plus.
I've actually never played Link to the Past. I've played a lot of the other Zelda games that are like largely based on it, though. Like the Oracle games. I forget if I played Ages or Seasons, but one of them.
Those were good games. I don't think I finished them, but they were fucking fun.
Does Jesse come in late? Why Why is this thing
I'm
here?
assuming so.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I think I heard someone mention Jesse in like as if he wasn't there.
We have no editing yet, so it's not like the icon
Yeah,
will
this is
slide in
before.
when it shows up.
Like later on, I think Nate would like do a thing with like making the icon flash or whatever, but then it was like quickly determined that it was like too much work, and we stopped. Until we got like the the way that like the look of the podcast changed is like really funny and interesting.
It's so funny listening to both Bens at the same time, because past Ben really is a lot deeper voiced.
I don't know why that is. That's so strange. It's all the soy. It's because I joined Antifa and turned gay.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
I wonder if we talk about the ungodly amounts of porn.
Probably not. It's not until episode 11. Porn.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh. How would all right, guys? Temperature check, vibe check. How would we rate this podcast listening experience thus far? We are 25 minutes in.
It's weird because like there's not much to commentate on. It's just like, yes, that is a point that we had years ago about a video game that was topical at the time.
I keep second guessing myself because sometimes I or someone else will say something and I'll have an opinion about it, but then I'll be like, wait a minute, I'm pretty sure I said that in this podcast, and I don't just want to like start talking about something that like I said even at the time. What would be the point?
It'd be funny.
Like just there when Digi talked about the limitations of the graphics, I myself was tempted to be like, what? No, pixel graphics good, and then like, but then my past
recreate the podcast.
My past self was on it. He had it covered for me.
We'll just have to if we ever do this again, find episodes that none of us are on, so we can just roast everybody for their bad takes that for when we weren't there.
Commenters, tell us if you like this format, if you want more, and if so, what would be the best episodes to do. Or
and they're all just going to say
this suck and is impossible to listen to.
It's hard for me to listen to, honestly, but
same. I'm getting disoriented.
You know, I think it's easier to do when you're like watching a movie that like you and your friends that you're talking with aren't in. So it's just like, is that new Ben or old Ben? They're both talking at the same time. This is weird.
I'm keeping the past self at lower volume. That's how I can tell these two.
The volume for the old stuff is very low right now.
Yeah, I don't think Jesse and Mage are actually here. I think they must show up later.
They're like rushing to finish Undertale so they can come into the podcast.
No, I know Mage had finished Undertale.
Yeah, definitely.
Mage was literally patient 0. That final level really does look like shit. It like stands out.
Deltarune looks a lot better.
Hey, when's Deltarune episode 2?
Toby made an announcement on his site when the Undertale anniversary orchestra thing dropped.
Yeah.
So I think he talked about it then, but no hard date or anything. He was putting out a call for coders and specific, like, programming people and maybe some art people.
Is he paying? I hope he's paying.
Oh yeah, obviously he's like
he's like super rich. Of course he's paying.
Yeah, sure. Imagine just making one indie game, and it's like, and just no one's ever heard of you before, but you're like, I'm gonna make an indie game, and you spend some time in your basement, like a couple years, making this indie game, and then you put it out, and now you're a fucking millionaire, and you're like the most famous fucking game developer in the world. That's so fucked up.
Yeah, and just casually playing some Smash with Sakurai, getting your shit in that game.
Yeah. Dude, Toby Fox made it so big that he even got featured in the greatest indie game of all time, Y2K.
Jesus Christ.
You guys know about Y2K?
Oh, I know all about Y2K.
You talking about the fucking end of the world?
No, there's a video game.
The game.
There's a RPG.
Yeah,
called
I know about
Y2K.
that.
With the redhead glasses guy.
Yeah, I know about that game.
Yeah. Toby Fox did a soundtrack for that, or a song for it.
He did one song for it. I have watched a disproportionate amount of videos analyzing why Y2K is bad.
Yeah, it was like a weird thing where the guy who made it was deemed to be a douchebag by leftist game critics, and so they all decided to make videos about the game and just make it a punching bag for a little while.
I think you are wrong in that assessment. I don't think that's why.
I know Tom had a whole video about this.
The game is bad for a number of reasons.
Well, no, not that it's not that it isn't a bad game, but that there was no reason to talk about it other than that the guy who made it made himself a public figure, and that's what made people talk about it.
Well, yeah, but even before, I know he went on the Dick Show and talked about it, but even before, up to release, it was being hyped up a lot, and it had a big marketing push behind it.
Who was
and all these famous people were involved in it, like Toby Fox, for instance.
How did he pull that off?
He met with Pixel, the guy who made a Cave Story, at a con or something. There's pictures of them together. I don't know. Well, they had made a game before. Two Brothers, but it was not a successful game.
Yeah, which didn't do well.
I don't know how
he
had this.
The Y2K guy made Two Brothers?
Yeah.
Okay,
there might be more than one game called Two Brothers.
There is another. I think there is a game called Two Brothers that's actually not
super critically acclaimed.
No, I'm thinking of a game just called Brothers. Never mind. There's a game called Brothers in which you control two brothers.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is a different game. Two Brothers is a game. It's
just called Two
Game
Brothers.
Boy pixel RPG kind of thing.
Right.
Is it better than Y2K?
Nobody's played it, but apparently no. I guess it's really buggy and was not finished. But I guess the devs are pretty mad that it didn't get more recognition. I'm getting the impression
that the guy who made Y2K is just really full of himself and really sucks.
Yeah.
And he's really good at getting himself onto platforms and getting people to talk about him, but he's not actually a good game developer. So, ergo, again, what I said, the fact that he's out there making such a big deal about his game that sucks is why people are let's fucking tear this thing apart,
I think he's a competent game developer, but he just has kind of an off-putting personality that comes through in the decisions he makes in his games.
Well, and in the writing. Just
in the writing.
It feels like the writing in Y2K, from what little I've seen, because I'm not going to spend money on that game, obviously. Even if it was good, it's not really my cup of tea.
I'm not going to play a 60-hour RPG.
Exactly.
Everyone says it sucks.
Oh, God, is it that long?
It's
most RPGs are.
It feels like a stereotype almost. It feels like a parody. The way the writing slots into just that kind of douchey indie guy. The way it's written, some guy who's just smelling his own farts and thinks his writing is great. it seems like it's fake. It seems like it's a parody, but it's not.
Well,
and that's really weird.
It reminds me, I see it as like an insincere version of what I do with my, like, I wrote this light novel in like a day, it sucks and I hate it, which is like the point of it is, yeah, like, oh, it's all meta and like and nothing matters, but like in my writing, I sincerely think nothing, like, that none of what I'm saying matters and is like dumb and bad, and that's what makes it funny. And like this guy is trying to make it profound. You know,
I feel like if the guy who made Ride 2K did a light novel like you did, he like, I wrote this light novel in a day. It's great, and I'm a genius. That's what his would be called. And it wouldn't be a joke. It would be like, that's really what he would think.
Right. And I've known people who are just like him, who I've like worked on projects with, who had that exact attitude of like our gimmick is that everything we do is awesome, you know? And it's like, well, yeah, but is everything you do awesome though? Like
that's a high bar to clear,
you know?
What is Nate talking about? I'm not even listening to him right now.
I heard him singing the
music,
the bit before you fight Asgore, which was definitely a cool part.
Everything in Undertale is a cool part.
Okay, here we go with Contrarian Ben.
Yeah.
Undertale's not that well written. It's pretty cliche, and the story's pretty simple when you really get right down to it. I'm of two minds about the ending. On the one hand, I know that it's really going for the like sappy, like, you know, you save all your friends, a happy ending. But it's I feel like it might go too far, to the point where it goes beyond like embracing its own cringe.
You know what? You know what I think
and
it
just
is,
sort of
Ben?
becomes cringe again.
I think it's for it being as short as it is, it's long-winded. In that, like, the characters will go like on and on about like what they're saying, you know, especially at the end of the game. You know, I could see how playing through it the first time, you have like it feels justified because you're so caught up in the emotions of it. But like revisiting it again, you know, eventually you'll be like, okay, well, you know,
well, here's the thing, because like I think that the ending, like, I'm
granted, I think
we're
that's
talking
relevant.
about the pacifist ending, right? That's what we're talking
yeah,
about.
I think it's relevant to the fact that, you know, the other ending is about you getting jaded and getting bored of reading all this text. It's
pretty commendable that, like, even though I agree that it's long-winded for its short length, but for its short length, it is admirable how much it like almost succeeds at like justifying how long-winded the ending is. I don't think it quite gets there, but it gets closer than it has any
Another
right
thing to consider though is that, like, I feel like Undertale is almost kind of like Dark Souls in a way that it plays best if you don't know anything about it. Because I feel like that ending would be so much more earned if you went through an entire neutral run first and then realized you could do that, so you played it a second time. And so the length is now doubled. And that ending, where you're desperately trying to right all the wrongs you did by accident because you didn't know the rules of, like, you know, the meta of the game, it would feel a lot more genuine and impactful because you had to go back and redo it again. But like if you go in knowing you're going to do a pacifist run because like you've been on Twitter and you know the gimmick, like it feels a bit underwhelming because there was no struggle to get there that you would have had going in blind.
Did any of you do the pacifist run the first time?
I did. I only did the pacifist run.
I did not. I actually did not do the pacifist run the first time. I fucked something up. I don't remember what. I think maybe I like couldn't figure out how to the Undyne fight. I couldn't figure out that like you just had to run. Which seems really obvious in hindsight, but that tripped me up, and I think I killed Undyne my first time through. I actually don't remember.
I should clarify. I only ever played through Undertale the one time on the pacifist run. So
that's all I did as well.
Almost forgotten that there's the whole other side to it. I really did. I mean, I guess my take on Undertale is basically what it always was, which is that yes, it's genius. It's incredibly good. It answers so many of its own questions. It's unbelievable. But like to say it's the greatest game ever for those reasons is to ignore that other games have done that too. You know, like it is incredible. There's other incredible games like, you know, I mean, Ben, I'm sure you would probably like, I would have to ask like Undertale versus Dwarf Fortress or Undertale versus like, you know,
that's so apples and oranges.
Right. But like, what do you think could you even imagine making a choice between them?
I think I would pick Dwarf Fortress.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, because there's like an infinite number of funny and interesting things that can occur in Dwarf Fortress.
I think here's the thing, because talking about something like Dwarf Fortress versus Undertale, I haven't played like basically any Dwarf Fortress. I've just seen Ben play it, but like I think a lot of people, including myself, give Undertale a ton of credit because its story can only be done in a video game. I said that like 20 minutes ago, but I think something like Dwarf Fortress is the essence of what a game is, and that all of like the kind of like narrative is emergent. Like it's like you connecting the dots in your own personal experience, and that's something that only a game can do, and that's like the entirety of something like Dwarf Fortress. And so like that like kind of like people give Undertale so much credit because like, oh, it's doing this thing with video games, but like a video game is about playing it, not about simulating a static medium with a little bit of player input. So like everything Undertale gets credit for in its story and subverting this and save scumming and making that a mechanic, I feel like, yeah, but like a game can just be a game. Like that's like the essence of what a game is like your experience as a player.
Are you saying that like narrative is like sort of an unnecessary element to like gaming in its purest form?
Yeah, in a sense. I feel like,
well, I mean, and narrative, like every single story that you produce in Dwarf Fortress is a narrative in and of itself. Like it's a narrative told exclusively through mechanics. Like Undertale uses mechanics in its story, but it is not telling its story exclusively through mechanics the way a video game could, you know? Dwarf Fortress, like there's...
Yeah, I guess.
You know, like obviously there's like flavor text that has been written in to like be a possibility that can come up.
It does generate like descriptions of things.
Right.
Sure. But it does so with complete neutrality.
Yeah.
And it's up to you to like read them and like decide like whether it's interesting or not, or whether it forms like a narrative that's worth repeating.
I just think the more structured a narrative in a game becomes, the more it's pivoting away from what makes games unique from something like a comic or a movie or something like that, because the more control and agency you take away from the player's experience, the more you're moving away from what video games offer uniquely as a medium.
This is something that...
Yeah, I guess I agree, but I mean...
I don't think that's good or bad. I just think that's...
What
it is what it is.
That's...
Because I love Mass Effect, and that's just a movie where
I was about to talk about...
Man.
I was about to talk about Mass Effect in the sense that I have this video I started writing because I want to do a long... I basically plan to do a 24-hour long analysis of Mass Effect. Of just the first game.
Jesus.
And I
think
wrote
one of the
like...
first things we ever talked about when we started talking was how we both wanted to do something big with Mass Effect.
I had decided to start working on that a few months back. Actually, it was before Radcon 4, which Radcon 4 stopped everything I was doing before Radcon 4, as it tends to do. But like I played through just like the Eden Prime mission and the first like Citadel part of the game. Recorded all that and wrote like an hour and a half worth of text just on the fucking first mission. God. The presentation of it is basically the idea of the video is, does Mass Effect have the best story in a game? And in order to understand that, we need to tell the story of Mass Effect. And in order to do that, we need to identify what is the story of Mass Effect, which is completely different depending on what you do in the game and how you interact with it and like which directions you go in, who you talk to, who you kill, you know, what choices you make. So I play through as multiple characters and like tell the different versions of the story as I'm encountering it, you know, just basically trying to figure out like how much story can be found in this game, you know, and how good is that story, basically, from on a moment-to-moment level, where, like, the story of how I killed this room full of guys, was that a good story, or was that a boring story where I just ran in and gunned everybody down and it was nothing, you know, or was it this amazing story of me finding cover with low ammo and fucking fighting my way out, you know? It's all story.
Hmm.
I'm talking about Dark Souls now.
Talking about fucking
Dark
the
Souls.
Ash Lake.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which I still haven't done. I totally missed Ash Lake,
Oh shit.
obviously.
I found it, but only because, like, you know, people talked about it, and I was like,
Yeah.
I think I found it because I watched like Vadi videos before I played Dark Souls.
Yeah, I made sure.
So of course I knew about.
I had like
Ash
no
Lake.
interest in Dark Souls until we started doing IM games, and we got into those kinds of games. So when I bought Dark Souls, I'm like, I'm just not gonna play with a guide because that's how you're supposed to do it. So just
There's not much actually in Ash Lake. Like, what's interesting about it is just that it is there.
Yeah, I remember my brother found it like accidentally, and he told me about it. And that's how I learned about it, which
Holy
is
shit.
a cool way to figure it out from word of mouth of
God,
someone who
that's
just
such an old school way of
found
figuring
it.
something out about a video game. You know,
Yeah, it was great.
that's like when someone told me in like karate class in like 1999, dude, you gotta surf up and down the side of Cinnabar Island after talking to the coffee guy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
legendary.
Did he find it because like someone had left a note?
No. He found it because he was just he had a big weapon, and he attacked it to get the mimic, because there was a chest there, and he
Oh.
found this first one, and then he rolled into the second one. I think accidentally.
Does rolling into a hidden door destroy it?
I think so. I mean, I didn't watch him do it, but
Okay.
he found
But
it.
he found it by accident.
Found it by
Alright.
accident. I was like, damn, he got the real thing.
Yeah, what
That's
a cool
wild,
experience.
That's like in Yume Nikki, if you just happen to get like I found Uboa, but it's because I knew where Uboa was and how to find it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
No,
I know
I
nothing
ain't
about that.
played that shit.
I will show you. I mean, you know Yume Nikki, right?
Yeah,
I
it's
do
the
not.
game with the funny face.
That is
It's the game with the
I
anime
believe-
girls that everybody loves.
I believe the funny face you're describing is Uboa.
I think so. It's this, and the way that you find Uboa is there's like a sort of off the beaten path little hut that you can go to, and in the hut, if you turn, there's a light switch, and you can turn the light switch on and off, and every time you enter the house, there's like a 1 in 60 chance that when you turn the lights off, the girl in the house will turn into Uboa, and Uboa will transport you to this like secret location. And so, like, you know, you have to go off the beaten path. You have to decide to interact with the light switch, which is not something you can do in most places. And then you just have to get lucky on like 1 in 60 roll for this thing to occur. Unless you know that it's there, and then you, like me, you go in and out and try it like 50 times until it happens. But it's probably fucking scary if you're not expecting it. Yeah, that's another probably a similarly like unlikely scenario to just find it organically, in which I only found because I knew about it ahead of time.
The only thing I know about Yume Nikki is that one YouTuber who does animated music videos using the characters, and they're all like happy and funny. Let me find one.
I don't know. I don't know who that is.
God, what the fuck is his name?
Yeah, I've literally just been going on about Dark Souls. This is like what a lot of my life was for years, was turning conversations into Dark Souls. I've only recently gotten over it because there hasn't been any Dark Souls to talk about in a few years.
Oh god. Elden Ring.
And I'm
Elden
too
Ring
shit
be
at
Souls-like? I
Sekiro
guess we'll
to have a
find
real
out.
conversation about
Dude,
it.
I want to play Sekiro again so bad, but it's still so expensive. I refuse to pay full price for it.
Tom, how long are you gonna continue being stuck in Massachusetts?
I have no idea. That's a good question. It depends if I will ever be able to get my fucking disability, because the doctors are like, no, we don't
So
care that you have been crippled for 2 years. You're not actually crippled.
If you move back in with me, you can play Sekiro all you want, Tom.
Oh god.
I can't believe you're doing this, Digi. I can't believe you're trying to do this. You
What?
You asked me if I wanted to move.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
I have an
shit.
extra room that I could move somebody into. So
My
I'll
God.
come in there
I
and
don't want
squat.
to have to
I'll hide
spend
from
the
the
money
government.
that I spend on rent anymore.
As long as it's all done under the principle of free association and not in violation of the aggression pat. What is that fucking libertarian? I don't know. Whatever.
What are you
Whatever,
talking
fuck
about?
it.
I have no fucking
I don't know,
idea
it
what
doesn't
you're
matter.
trying to say.
Nah, who cares? Nah, don't listen to me.
The moment has passed.
It's consenting adults and all that.
Consenting adults.
That's it. What is Nate talking about?
I don't know.
I ask myself that question a lot.
I got a meme. I got a meme tweeted at me on Twitter
Right,
the other
I
day,
found it.
and it was
Stuff like this.
oh, I've never seen this. It was like it was the Chad Ben versus the Virgin Nate, and it was too mean. It was too unkind, and I didn't retweet it because I was like, that's a little bit yikes.
Incredible.
Oh, this song in this video is from
Crypt of the
Necrodancer.
Necrodance, yeah. He just takes various songs from various games and animates the Yumi Nikki characters dancing or doing something to it. Go Boo. This is a channel.
Why?
Because he just likes video games and Yumi Nikki.
It's fine, I guess.
Some of them are more than fine. Some of them are grand.
Like, I guess I can understand the idea in general, but I don't know why you would only do it with Yume Nikki. I don't even know who these two people in the middle are. Yume Nikki barely even has characters.
It's true.
I'm just listening to the Crypt of the Necrodancer song now. I'm more interested.
No, watch this
Good
video. This
soundtrack.
is the funnier one. It's from like Battle Block Theater, where like Stamper or whatever his name is ad-libbing some silly noises.
Oh, that opening animation was incredible.
Yeah, he's quite a very good animator
This
who
one's-
does these.
This one's way more high effort. Well, these are nice, yeah.
Yeah, I love these animations.
So much effort for such a specific thing.
I know, it's great.
Well, pretty based. Alright, I should probably pay attention again.
Yeah.
Dark Souls sucks. I'm bored
Let's
of
talk
Dark
about
Souls.
themes in Dark Souls.
No.
Linking the fire? Ooh, is it a metaphor for racism?
more like sneaking the
Yeah.
What if you farted on the bonfire? What if
I
you
don't know.
farted on the first flame?
It probably exactly what you think would happen.
You become God.
That's why you
That's
catch
right.
on fire in the Linking the Flame ending. That's
Yeah,
what
it's because
actually,
you haven't. It's because after like you go through Blight Town and all that, you're covered in shit and fart stink,
Mm.
and you haven't washed since then. So you
Covered in
just set
shit
ablaze.
and fart stink. Damn.
That's all those
Damning
that dung you have in your
connotation.
inventory that you keep picking up in Blighttown. Just how unfortunate.
Is it the dung,
dung
pie?
pie.
Yeah,
Description covers you in shit and fart stink.
Don't beat the game with this. Bad things will happen.
Yeah.
Laying it on a little
This is-
thick, FromSoft.
Like if you use it right before the final cutscene, you have like the stink cloud coming off of you, like in the final cutscene. You get the secret ending.
Look at the level of discourse Dark Souls has dropped to in 5 years from a serious examination
Yeah,
of the
it's
themes to
improved.
like
Honestly,
pee-pee
it's
poo-poo.
better.
Why is Nate mad at Tim Schafer?
Didn't he have a Kickstarter for Psychonauts 2?
Had a
Did that ever come out?
Psychonauts 2.
Sounds like it. I don't know.
Weren't they like advertising that like recently? Is that still not out?
Psychonauts. Didn't Tim Schafer go on to make that like point and click game that was like sort of successful, but not
Like
that
Broken Age
successful?
or whatever?
Like no, yeah, Broken Age. Was that a Tim Schafer? Or am I crazy?
It is.
I mean, he made a bunch of point and click games back in the day.
Sure. But I feel like Broken Age was after any Kickstarter for Psychonauts 2.
Oh my god, I don't think Psychonauts 2 is even out yet. Or is it? No, upcoming video game. It still isn't out. Coming out next year, apparently.
Wow.
Damn.
I mean, Psychonauts is pretty good.
I haven't played a lot of it, but I do have it. And it's pretty cool. It's a platformer.
It's good. It's a good game. It's got funny dialogue. I liked it.
I remember really liking the art style when it came out as a kid.
Yeah. I mean, I played it a long time after it came out. I think I played it in like 2013, 2014 or something. Wait. No, I played it in college. Yeah, that's right. I remember playing it in my college girlfriend's basement when I like went to visit her family. Oh man, whoa, blast from the past.
Had to run away from her family, just like, I'm gonna go play video games downstairs.
That's from even further in the past than this fucking podcast I'm listening to.
Life is long.
Time passes, guys.
I know, it sucks. I hate it.
Isn't it like fucked up that like every single moment will never happen again? Like this one, and this one,
Yes,
and that's
what I've been saying.
And this one right here.
Many people are saying this.
All those moments will be lost like tears in rain.
Oh god.
So let's talk about let's discuss our theories about what exactly a Tannhauser gate is.
A what?
I've heard the name before.
That's what he says. That's what he says. He's seen C-beams glittering off the Tannhauser gate.
Yeah, I think the idea is that it's some kind of Stargate that there was a battle around. I mean, he had fought in a war, right? Like,
yeah, I think so. But I mean, I think really the point is that like they don't really like. Yeah, maybe it's some star thing, but like whatever. You're not supposed to know what it is.
Right.
Right. It's supposed to be mysterious. You'll never know. This guy knows, but now he's dead.
I assume based on my other knowledge of sci-fi that it's a Stargate.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Like a Cowboy Bebop Stargate.
What else does he say? C-beams glistening at the Tannhauser gate. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. C-beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhauser gate. Okay, those are the only two things he says.
Yeah.
And then he dies like a bitch.
The actor did too recently.
No shit.
Rest in peace.
How ironic that an actor who played a character who died would eventually die himself as well.
Life imitates art, as they say.
Art, yeah.
Life imitates art. Fuck yeah.
Ben laughed so hard he disconnected.
Oh Jesus!
Yo, did something just happen to Discord?
Did disappeared and
died.
came back, but
Oh, it like reloaded for some reason. I don't know what happened, but my recording's fine.
good.
I've watched like all of those extremely long Noah Caldwell Gervais videos.
Good.
I think he talks about Mass Effect.
Yes, he has one. That was the thing. Because originally my plan was I wanted to do a 3.5 hour long video on all 3 Mass Effect games, because that was like the longest and biggest thing I could imagine at the time. Noah Caldwell Gervais eventually did that, and once he did it, I was like, well, shit, he did a good enough job. I don't have to do it. But then I thought, well, if I really wanted to show everyone what like an in-depth analysis looks like, I would do a 24-hour analysis of Mass Effect. So eventually, I will.
Based on like pushing the point to absurdity, or actually
Yes.
having 24 hours worth
Well, I do have
of stuff to say.
I will have 24 hours worth of stuff to say about Mass Effect, but the point of it is to push it to absurdity. To be like, to basically say like, oh, you think like Mauler is cool? Wait till you see this, bitch. Like, you know.
You see, this pixel here, I want to go on in depth about, because it's the perfect pixel.
The perfect. I said this at the time, not really realizing how crazy the plot of every Final Fantasy is. Like, until Nate's lecture, I didn't truly realize that like Final Fantasy is fucked. Like, the plot is always insane.
God.
Did he talk about like Final Fantasy 13? Did he get that far?
He talked about 13. I don't think he talked about 13-2 or Lightning Returns, or he might have only not talked about Lightning Returns.
Dude, new Final Fantasy looks so cool. Have you seen anything about Final Fantasy 16? Like from the...
I have not. I only heard the rumblings of the idea that it was a thing.
It's coming eventually, but like the thing that makes me super interested in it is that the combat designer for Devil May Cry is doing the combat for Final Fantasy 16.
Weird.
And you look at the
wow.
trailer, it's like, oh, it's Devil May Cry. And
I mean, if
I'm
they
in,
fixed
I'm
the
ready.
combat, which was the problem with the last one, then I don't know, man. It could happen.
I'm
When are they
pretty-
gonna make
I'm
the
locked
games
in.
that already exist and put them out again?
Like we have to remember that it's not a matter of like, oh, it's difficult to make a good Final Fantasy game. It's just the staggering fucking stupidity of Square Enix that has like prevented that from happening. All they have to do is stop being retarded. Like,
What I mean,
they don't even have to be smart. They just
to
have to
really-
stop being retarded.
to really hammer home how retarded Square Enix is. They just released like last month the Avengers video game, right?
Uh-huh.
And it's failing because instead of making like a cool single player or couch co-op game, they made it like a live service. They basically made like Destiny or Anthem with Avengers, and it was like super buggy at launch, and like half of the dialogue wasn't even finished, and so there was just like placeholder like robotext for certain things, and it's just an abysmal nightmare. And it's like, how do you fuck up an Avengers video game?
That's
like
embarrassing.
it's a cringe
they
fest.
they thought about it in terms of like movie ticket sales or something. Like, oh, it doesn't matter if people enjoy it so long as they like get addicted, and they pay up front, they get addicted, and then we have them. It doesn't matter what we do. But people stop. You can't keep them engaged like that.
You have to have something that's actually addicting, which a buggy, frustrating experience.
Yeah, they
is
just
not.
put things in that are proven to be addictive into it. That's what I've heard.
Well, and
It feels like it's
problem-
like-
just made it suck.
I think that these companies think like, oh, if we slap the IP on anything, it will be fine. But it's like the IP is already on everything. Like, you can't take 2 steps without stumbling over something Avengers related, some kind of video game where you can already play as these characters. Like something like
can probably
Pokemon
buy-
Go is like you can't get that experience in any way. Like, never mind that Pokemon was everywhere. It's that like the experience of Pokemon literally being in the real world, like, is different.
Yeah.
They need something like
Yeah,
that.
Niantic's shit was fucking proprietary. It can't be easily replicated. Unlike, I don't know, most modern video games,
Right?
Which are all share a lot of similarities with each other.
Then people did replicate it. Now you can get like a Jurassic Park version of Pokemon Go and weird shit like that.
Yeah,
That's true.
Niantic like built it out of Google Maps or things like that. So like all they need really is an online map thing.
Does Niantic run the like the Jurassic Park one? Probably not.
No,
right?
no. There's quite a lot of like shitty fake Pokemon Go ripoffs that use that technology.
Yeah. Yeah, but who wants a fucking dinosaur?
There are people.
Children.
Stupid. Children want a Metagross.
Nah, that's gross. Mega gross.
Oh
no. Ugh.
They should make a cat one of those. So you just go to places and... Wait, no, you go to a place...
Cat one of those? Like track down real cats in the real world?
No. You take a picture of a cat and that gets uploaded to the cloud or whatever, and then other people can find that cat and pet it. That's actually an idea.
like geocaching, but geocaching.
There actually is something kind of similar to what you're describing called crypto kitties, where you can buy through Ethereum these cats that you hatch from eggs, and they all have unique properties, and you can like breed crypto cats and trade them and shit. So they have like real monetary value in the sense that because each one is unique and people collect them, and like they can get more powerful through cat fusion and shit. You can get into a whole fucking cat breeding thing.
Ethereum sounds way too much like a World of Warcraft currency. I can't take it seriously. I can't think of it as real. Oh, Jesse's here.
Oh, I think Jesse is finally actually in it. Yeah.
Wait, when did he show up?
I think just now. I've currently got $95 in Ethereum, which is less than how much it was worth when I bought it, unfortunately.
God. I'm wondering if maybe I should just convert all my money to gold.
I have $49 in gold through crypto.
Wait, what?
I have crypto
through
gold.
Crypto?
Yeah, like gold-backed crypto.
Oh, I see.
It's called ultimate gold or universal gold. Yeah.
Huh. Strange.
So
why not just get the gold then?
I mean, I can have them send me the gold that I own, but like, I don't need it.
Yeah. Imagine. Yeah, I'd like my gold now.
Yeah. I have to imagine $50 in gold is a very small piece of gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like probably smaller in shape than a playing card or something. Don't know how thick it would be.
Oh, it's about a gram. That's about a gram of gold.
Just 1 gram.
Like barely shit.
Yep.
What do you know? You know, gold's pretty valuable. I should find some.
Which is 1/200th of a cubic centimeter of gold. So we're talking about a crumb. Oh God, this
I feel
sucks.
like I was about to say. I feel like I was about to say this exact thing. Like the idea of it being the best is like a stupid question.
Imagine showing up to a podcast to be like, guys, well, the thing about what we're talking about is that it's really stupid and it doesn't matter and I don't have an opinion about it.
Well,
Get
you know,
out of here.
Nah.
Nah. Terrible. Just terrible.
I could like go on about the thing. It's just like fundamentally, like I thought I could have stuff to say about it, but like seeing the arguments people were talking about. Oh, well, here I go complaining.
We have but
I have $60.91 in Ethereum in my account.
oh, this is Mage trying to join and forgetting to record her audio, Lamau. Can't believe this is the first episode. We really led with our best foot forward. It was an auspicious start to a long and storied history of a history of success and conquest. Why am I singing this? Shut up, Ben.
Yeah, fuck. Shut up.
We have
kid.
no idea what we're doing.
Well, I mean, what has changed? Nothing.
God, Mage's audio is so bad.
She had a tin can for a very long time.
Oh my god, it is terrible. Holy shit.
It shouldn't be that bad because like she made videos before this. She had a decent microphone.
There was like a whole arc. We were just like, Mage, get her better mic. And for some reason, she just couldn't do it.
It was because she was like in Lithuania or something, right? Like her good microphone was in England.
Yeah, I remember
God,
that.
I think you're right, yeah.
God, it's like she's on her phone.
I didn't realize we started the voicemail section in episode 1.
You know, it shocks me a little bit that no one has made any fan art of the samurai. Like, the samurai has been such an arc now.
Nobody likes the podcast enough anymore to do that.
Oh, don't say
no,
that. Oh,
people do
like
the
don't say it
podcast
out
enough
loud.
to say that. I think it's just
Don't. How dare you say what I've been thinking?
Nobody does fan art of the podcast, so it's like nobody's thinking about it as a thing they could do. You just got to show them that it's possible, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah."
Them snakes got some fan art. I guess I could do it, but I don't wanna. It's hard.
Samurais are too hard to draw. There's too many bells and whistles on their armor. It looks great, but it's impossible. You just got to draw so many rectangles.
Yeah, it's a little true. I don't know.
Pitch shifted Ben Saint.
Yeah, I was just thinking, why is my voice so deep? What's wrong with me?
It's like everyone else was recording in like 4410 and you were at like 48.
I think this is going to sound really strange, but I think that part of the reason my voice sounds like that at this point is because I was not that used to doing like podcasts, and I think I would go like days or more like without speaking like to anyone. And I think sometimes I would get on the podcast, get in a call, and I would have to sort of like kick the rust off my vocal cords, like from lack of having used them recently. I kind of think that was a thing at this time.
Incredible.
Yeah.
God, I hate League of Legends so much.
I'm not a fan.
I just it infuriates me because like this like incredibly great aesthetic and art direction and like interesting story ideas wasted on the most boring concept.
Well,
or unappealing concept, I should say. I don't think it's boring for people who are into it, but
I mean that's just any video game. That's like any commercial video game you just described.
All right. I guess if we want to cast the net that wide, we could make that argument.
I'm doing it.
All right.
I'm going there.
Not every game's Dwarf Fortress, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm remembering, like, the whole thing of me saying, guys, I don't like the topic, haha, like, that was stupid, I shouldn't have said it. But I think the reason I was saying it was, like, I wanted to justify
you had a
my
bad habit.
silence.
You had a bad habit of doing that back in the day.
I think it's... No, I'm thinking about it now. Like, how would I approach this topic? And I think I'm bad at, like, coming up with, like, the words necessary to explain how I would go about like analyzing this topic. And I'd rather make a video about it than talk about it on a podcast, because it would be too difficult to, like, say it, you know? So I would usually, in these things, stay quiet and then complain, because I'm like, I know what I have to say, but I can't say it because I'm stupid. Ah!
I mean, it's hard to get a word in, especially because, like, I mean, your participation in the podcast increased as the episodes went on, and now you're just, like, able to keep up with the conversation. But I feel like early on, like, me, you, and Mage especially, like, we would just be very silent for a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I feel like I still do that a lot of the time when I shouldn't be.
It's just like I could imagine myself, like, saying the thing that was on my mind currently, and then realizing, wait, that doesn't make sense halfway through, and then changing what I'm saying, and it would just be, like, hard for anyone else to understand what the hell I was getting at. I think that happened quite a lot of times. I feel like a lot of that, like, Citizen Kane shit is just, like, a meme. Because nobody who says that has really watched Citizen Kane. They just don't watch enough movies to really think about what is the best one.
Come on. You know that's not true. You're overstating your case.
No, I mean, like the majority of people in culture, like, they think of Citizen Kane as one of the great movies,
It's
and I don't know if
mimetic
that many people have actually watched it. But when you think of, like, the same like thing with video games, there isn't, like, the one that everybody knows is the best but doesn't necessarily have played it. Like, does that exist?
Yeah. I think that's how people feel about, like, Final Fantasy VII. For a lot of people, like everybody's heard that it's super good, but I doubt that. Well, I don't know. I mean, tons
Like
of
Final
fucking
Fantasy
people
VII,
have
like,
played it, obviously.
It's weird, though, 'cause it's
probably.
like-
I feel like Final Fantasy VII and Ocarina of Time are probably games that, like, Zoomers may not have played,
Yeah.
but have
I
heard
feel-
about. Or
yeah,
Super
it's-
Mario 64.
They've both been
It's
made,
the sort
like,
of things that
continually
people have been
available
talking
over time,
about.
but
That are old, because, like, Citizen Kane is, how old is that? It's
I mean,
in
I
black
haven't
and white.
seen
It's an old
Citizen
film.
Kane. I only know the movie for the fact that its reputation is that it's supposed to be one of the, like, it's basically Casablanca and
it.
Citizen Kane and The Godfather. Like, those are the three movies.
I watched Casablanca and Citizen Kane specifically because their reputation, and I thought Casablanca was really cool. I thought Citizen Kane was okay.
I enjoyed
I haven't seen Casablanca. I watched Citizen Kane. Yeah, I don't know. I think I was kind of young.
But that's,
that's fair.
the thing is that it was
now.
the heyday.
I feel that way about a lot of
quote,
movies that I watched.
I feel like, quote unquote, heyday of those movies was well before we were born, even. And so it's like the video game industry has not been around
I would
for
say
long
that,
enough
like,
for that to really come up with, like, the thing that everybody's heard of. Because, like, some people don't really pay attention to Final Fantasy, and they do know about video games.
I think it's one part that, and that video games aren't old enough yet, but also it's a matter of, like, I'm sure that at the time when Casablanca and Citizen Kane came out, they were not being recognized as the two most important films that were going to shape
sure.
the future. It was people were talking about Gone with the Wind and fucking, Wizard of Oz is like the greatest movies of all time, probably. Like by the time those two movies were 20 years old, that's when people are starting to say like these are as good as those, right? But it's only 20 years after that enough people have forgotten the shit from the 30s that the shit from the 50s is now the greatest films of all time. Well, 20 years from now, it's going to be that like Godfather is the old movie. That's like Casablanca is how we look at Casablanca now is how we will look at Godfather, 10 years from now. And we'll look at the shit that like Reservoir Dogs and fucking Pulp Fiction as like the new contenders of greatest film of all time that that are like competing with where Godfather used to be, and it'll just keep sliding like that. It'll always be like a 40 or 50-year-old thing is the classic because that's the oldest thing people still know about.
A thing has to be around for a while. Like to have like an academic consensus form around it,
right?
For it to become like something that like people have heard the take that it's the best movie.
I guess what I'm
time.
trying to say is like the idea that something is still like the greatest in the eyes of the most people, it is because people who experienced it when it came out are still alive. Like as soon as everybody who experienced it when it first came out is dead, then it will just be like it'll be in the annals of time as like a classic. Everybody knows it was important, but nobody really gets how important it was because nobody was there. Like they didn't get to literally watch it change everything over the course of however long. Whereas like when we talk about like Undertale, for instance, like we'll be able to talk about the influence Undertale had from the moment it came out until the moment we die, but like anybody who comes 10 years after us will not be able to say, oh yeah, Undertale was so fucking important. They'll read about it in a book, but they won't feel it,
Right. Mm-hmm. I think another interesting thing is like the comparison between video games and movies and how they're perceived is that I feel like games is just still more pulp in general in terms of like cultural appreciation. Like
that's
there's
a good
no
way to put it.
academy or whatever. There's no academic consensus for games because there's really no academic consideration for them.
I mean we have like the first generation of people getting doctorates in game studies with like cider, we're probably 15-20 years away from trying to make video games into classique, like right now it's all fucking Doritos and
I mean,
imagine a Doritos Casablanca fucking promotion. Double XP in Casablanca.
Double XP in Casablanca.
Was this must have been post Ness's Sans, or was this before that?
I don't know.
I don't know when that came out.
Undertale was kind of new when we recorded this, but it wasn't. I don't know if it was that new.
This was like the end of the year. Undertale came out like earlier.
When did the GameFAQs poll happen? When does that happen?
That was near the end of the year because that was for the best game, right? And so it was like the end of the year kind of deal. I think, right? Too lazy to look it up.
Okay, well, I'm looking on knowyourmeme.com for when the game theory. No, yeah, this was before
2016.
Sans' Secret Identity was from a game theory video that came out on February 9th, 2016. So this was us living in a pre-Ness's Sans world.
Can you imagine?
Things would never be the same.
I know.
12 million views on that one.
Damn. Whoa!
Oh, spicy.
Whoa! Who would say that kind of thing on a podcast?
Clip it. It's 2015. It was a simpler time.
Oh my god! This was 2015.
Yeah.
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 This was before Trump was in the White House.
Yeah,
Correct.
I can't believe that. I can't
Wait.
fucking believe that. Holy shit! What the fuck?
Had he been in, like, did he win the election by this point? This is the end of the year, 2015. It's December. It's almost 2016.
No, it was 2016. The end of 2016 is when he was elected.
Yeah, the
Oh,
election
this
was
is-
at the end. So
This is
Oh, the
11 months
whole-
before.
The whole thing happens next year.
wait. So
When did he
Correct.
start
yeah,
running?
this was
when
like a
does
year
all of
before
that
that happened. God.
Lol. So we did the
It doesn't-
podcast for like
I'm
a
horrified.
while.
That feels like a lifetime ago. I know it's a cliche to say.
It really does, though.
God.
Dude.
It's
There's
funny when I think of
230
Obama being in the
episodes of
White
this fucking
House.
I'm curious.
When I think of Obama being in the White House, the first thing my mind goes to is Homestuck, because Obama was in the White House when Homestuck started, and that is consistent with the characters.
It feels so.
I mean, I think about-
ancient.
I think about being in college, but I mean that was 8 years, so I mean a lot happened. He got elected when I was in college for the first time.
Yep. It was 08, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
I wonder which episode was like first one after Trump won the election. Did we talk about it? I wonder if we talked.
We
about
must have
it.
talked about it
Oh,
at some
God.
point. It was a big old thing. I mean, we did that whole bonus episode of
Sure.
Gamergate versus the 2016 presidential election or something.
We did. The best bonus episode.
But that must have been a while afterwards.
Yeah.
That was long enough afterwards that we could like reference the election as like a funny historical thing.
All right, the episode that was probably the first one we recorded after Trump was 35, The Great Circle Jerk, but the one that came out publicly was the writing editing process, which is 36.
But we had probably recorded writing
which-
and editing before, right?
Yeah, so
I
think
I don't even remember that episode at all.
yeah, I have no idea either. I do remember The Great Circle Jerk though. That was a fun episode.
Oh, of course.
Legendary.
Oh, I came so hard.
Yeah, we all did.
We all
That's the whole
did.
point.
Yeah, it was great. Oh, I remember this blog. I haven't checked it probably like since talking about it on this episode. It doesn't seem to exist anymore. I can't find it on Google.
What is it?
A blog called Zero Feedback.
Well, now there won't be any feedback because it's gone.
Wait, no. Okay, well there is a Twitter account for Zero Feedback and a Tumblr. The Twitter has 116 followers, and the last tweet they made was on January 16th, 2015. Bummer.
I remember that game. This is really funny. I'm looking at like episode 35 of the PCP. I'm scrolling down to comments, and I'm noticing people who have become like more prominent and in like I know them now. There's Asher here. It's Nibo, Steve.
Oh, you're looking at the comments on the video.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see.
Chip Wiseman.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me that the people who've been commenting the longest are the ones that are,
Subsonic Sparkles here. It's funny, like, some of these are people I literally was just reading comments on the latest content from, like, the same people who are here.
3 years ago.
Lachlan's here.
Lol.
Steel Viper.
And they're all gone.
Some I don't.
Nobody watches the show anymore.
Yeah, actually, I'm like...
Misanthropony! Misanthropony's here!
I'm more surprised by how many names I don't recognize.
Lachlan Still is here. Pretty good. God, Final Fantasy VII sucks so bad.
No.
It sucks so much dick, and I hate it.
It's a
now.
lovely little game with it.
No, it's
with a sword
stupid.
man and another sword man.
Shit. Overrated.
The worst fucking video game of all time. This is what you paid. You paid money for us to do this. This is how you know we've run out of ideas.
I'm just trying to talk over the Final Fantasy. Like, how much time do you think people have spent listening to us talk about the fucking Final Fantasy VII remake and Undertale?
There's like 3 episodes in a row when that's all it was being discussed.
I mean, there's nothing in this episode of the podcast that isn't also discussed at length in other episodes of the podcast. Like, all of our takes on Undertale are restated. All of our takes on Final Fantasy. This is just the beginning. We had to unpack, over years. Feelings about
it's funny.
These
like
games.
the first bunch of episodes is us like explaining things that have been in our heads and we haven't talked about them publicly necessarily, and then we just keep cycling
Changing
through them.
anything about the original will make it worse. What the fuck? What the fuck is Nate talking about?
This sounds like Nate's take.
He's
currently
insane.
As well.
Had the remake been announced by this point? I think it had.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
We're talking about that probably. Oh, Ben, you're agreeing with him.
Ooh,
Shit, I did.
Ooh.
Everyone knows that a good adaptation can make changes as long as it preserves the spirit of the original.
Nah, Ben, your opinion is locked in.
Fuck.
Written in
Sorry.
stone.
Fuck, damn.
You're not allowed to change your mind.
I know. Shit. I should have thought of that before I had an opinion.
They wanted to make money.
I don't know. I don't even know what we're talking about here. What game is this?
Resident Evil GameCube.
remake.
I never played a Resident Evil.
Oh, you'd like it.
You're not
See,
missing
the
out on
thing
much.
is, I
Would
like
I think you'd like the original.
Yeah.
the tank controls
I don't know,
in
Resident
Resident
Evil
Evil
5, you
1
punchable,
add
that's
to
pretty cool.
the like the scary factor for me. So like
Yeah.
removing the tank controls would make it like quote unquote a better movement experience, but less of a scary experience. So it's not like a
Agreed.
perfect everything is
That's why Resident
absolutely
Evil 4 is
better.
not very
I mean,
scary.
I said that they removed the tank controls.
fun.
That's not entirely accurate. It's more like they changed how they work. Like, you still move the same way. It's just faster. You don't have to, like, stop and turn as much, basically. But, like,
Okay.
you still
I haven't played
kind
it.
of direct the character.
I'm sure they tweaked it because they designed the original Resident Evil for a fucking game, like a D-pad,
Right.
because that's all the original PlayStation had.
I highly recommend playing the GameCube/HD version of Resident Evil. It's fucking
It's on
dank.
Steam.
Why are there so many games? There's too many.
But you
Dude,
could
How
beat
many-
it in
how
like
many
a day.
Goddamn
so-
franchises have we talked about in this one episode?
But there's only so
I'm
many
like
that are
really
actually
tempted to
good,
get
though.
fucking Game Pass just because there's so many fucking games now.
There's probably like over 12,000 very good games.
12? No
Yeah.
way. There's no way there's
12,000
very. I would say there's probably 1,200 very good games.
What? No. There's more than that.
You think there's more than 1,200
Hmm.
very good games
Yeah.
that
definitely.
you would yourself consider to be very good?
Oh, for me personally, I have no idea. But I mean, like, in general, there's...
I don't think there's
Tens
there's
of
no such
thousands
thing
of
as
good
in
games.
general very good games, because somebody thinks Destiny is a very good game. Like, I think from any one person's perspective, there's probably like 1,200 really good games.
Alright, I'm thinking
Now
of
with
it in
indies,
terms of
though,
like
There's so many indie games, that number could be way higher that you'll just never
I'm-
It's
see.
possible.
coming at this from the perspective
1,200
of
is
like
a
there's
lot.
so
I
many
mean, I
games.
haven't
How
even
would I ever
played
get around to
1,200
all of them?
games, so
Yeah, like if I could know whether all of the games that exist, which ones I would enjoy, how many would that number amount to? I think there would be quite a lot if I had unlimited time to play all of them. Probably more than 1,200.
Once the singularity happens, we all have robot bodies. And live
how
forever.
good does a game have to be before
Algorithms
we
will deliver
qualify it
some
as
games.
very good in this context?
Something that you want to play, even when you're not doing a let's play or a stream.
Okay. That's all. I don't want to have to let's play and stream when I play video games, so I'm gonna say any game.
It's
I
the only
would
way I
play.
can start anything.
I would
Just by
say a
streaming
really
it.
good game is a game you would play more than twice.
I think that sounds like something I would more.
I guess Among Us doesn't count then because I played it once.
Oof.
Oops. Oof.
I actually tried. I have this like extremely long list of every game that I have in my possession on every console and PC and like Epic Games Store and Steam account. I've listed all of them, and I've listed whether I've beat them and like how many times I've beat them if I have. And it's such a stupid idea because like some of them you play like not to completion over and over again, and you enjoy the experience, but like maybe the second half of it, like it's impossible to like actually compare them all in that one way of like, oh, if you play them a certain number of times, you really like it. Because some of the games I like play them all the way through, and then I leave it for a long time, and I play it again, but neither time did I really enjoy it. I just like remembered, I forgot that I didn't like it the first time, and I played it again. I was like, oh yeah. So I technically played it multiple times.
Okay. Played it more than
talk-
twice and enjoyed the experience.
I'm talking about Frog Fractions now. I'm thinking I'm gonna see about asking the Frog Fractions guy if he wants to come on the podcast.
That'd be cool.
He's not a big guy. He's got like 8,000 followers on Twitter.
Yeah,
He's
why
not
not?
he's not like the game is well known, but he's not
Might
that
as well,
famous.
dude. Go for it. Even if he was famous, you should go for it. By the way, like don't.
That's
don't
true.
Let their
That's a
numbers,
good point.
Yeah.
Don't let the numbers scare you away.
It'd be
from
funny
a
if the
person.
PCP just slowly accrued guests and it became a guest show, and then people would be like, "Oh, I should go on this show because it's like a."
I mean, that would be like a
I'm-
smart way to take the show. I think because we're obviously
Yeah.
have
I mean,
shit
that's
to
what
talk
we've been
about,
doing.
So like,
That's kind.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
kinda
the
what we're
reason
trying
it
to
doesn't
do now.
happen is because no one except Ben recently cares too much about actually reaching out to people.
I mean, I just put together a whole Discord of everybody I like, so I could easily farm guests out of there for the show.
Like who?
Anybody. Anybody who's cool and wants to.
I don't want anybody.
Well, anybody who is a good idea. I don't know. I would have to look through and be like, who do I want to have on PCP? You know?
I haven't looked through in there. I'm in there, and I'm cool. So yeah, I'll be a guest on the PCP. yeah.
You just add like an echo filter to your own voice, a delay. There's two Bens.
Just argue with my echo.
That would be funny. We just have Ben on and just treat him like a guest, even though he's been on every episode.
I want to ask Shaymay if he'll come on. I bet I could get Shaymay.
I don't know who that
That's
is.
the 7-hour
who's
Pokemon
going-
Yeah,
game.
it's a fucking it's
God.
driving me insane.
Is that me? Was I doing that?
What are we hearing? Someone making like animal noises?
I think someone, maybe me, was making fun of Nate, who always goes while people are talking, and I just said it a lot, really loudly into the mic.
Makes sense.
I missed it. Who? Kirino?
Oh, I can't believe my sister is this.
Oh, yeah, I'm with him. I fucking hate that show, and I hate Kirino. Show's fucking ass. Show makes me mad.
Is that orange small girl?
Yeah.
She's actually
No,
not that
no,
small.
no.
She's tall for her age.
You're,
But
you're
the-
thinking of
Oh, you're thinking
Umaru.
of
The one in, like, the
Umaru.
pajamas.
Yeah, you're thinking of Umaru.
You're thinking of Umaru.
No, that's
Kirino is the
different.
godmother
She
of
has orange hair, though,
Umaru-chan. Umaru-chan would not. Kirino walked so Umaru could run.
God, anime
Did
is
she,
fucking
though?
weird.
I saw a great chart of like political affiliation based on like anime avatar.
Yeah,
And Kirino is pretty far
that
right.
makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Sailor Moon's pretty far left. There were a lot more. Let me try and find the image. I probably won't be able to.
I think I've seen it. This is from like a little while ago, right?
I just saw it yesterday.
Oh, wow. I suppose it would never stop making the rounds.
Mm-hmm.
It's an evergreen image.
Oh, yep.
Still haven't played Axiom Verge. Such a fool.
I did not do that. I have not replayed Axiom Verge yet. Yeah, the fact that they put Nico on the fascism end is perfect. That's how I know this image is mostly accurate.
I don't know who that is.
She's from Love Live. She's like a meme character
Okay.
from Love Live who's like hyper. As far as I know, her thing is just that she's an idol and it's like all mask. Like she's just like a sociopath basically, but pretending to be a cute girl. So like, and like the
Fucking mage with her 2D gorillas vocals.
I can understand why Goblin Slayer is there.
I think this is like this is as accurate as it could possibly be, honestly, in terms of like my experience with the anime avatars.
Yeah.
Where's Sakura-chan? Where's Nani?
Sakura would definitely fall into the like liberalism area, I think.
I think she'd be pretty centrist. If it's based on who's using it, I think she'd be in the very middle.
Yeah, that's somewhere. I would say somewhere between moderate and liberal would be Sakura.
Oh, we're on the genocide run now. Oh, we're saying, yeah, if you didn't really beat the Undertale if you didn't genocide. So stupid.
I mean, that's like the theme, but you can still play it.
That's the theme, but it's horseshit. It's the dumb, like, you're a bad person for reading this book or playing this game or whatever. Like, it's disingenuous.
Oh, shut up.
Who, yourself?
Yeah, shut up, me.
Yeah. No, it's I don't know. That's, I didn't mention it before. That's another problem with the writing. The sort of like, I think it's a little smug the way that Undertale sort of thinks it's saying something about you.
I agree.
By like judging you for doing the genocide run. Fact of the matter is, it's a video game, and it doesn't matter if you do it or not. You really shouldn't feel bad, no matter how much Undertale tells you should. I mean, maybe that's the point. The point is that it's supposed to make you feel bad, and that's part of, like, art's supposed to make you feel emotions, and that's the emotion it's meant to make, and that's fair.
I just think it's a little presumptuous to
maybe
suggest
I just talked myself
that, like,
out of my point.
That, like, because for Flowey, it was like, for him, it's like, oh, I got bored of doing the same thing, and so I went and did something different. But but
Flowey really exists in this world. To Flowey, these people are real.
You know what I think robs it is the fact that it would be different if people had not known about the genocide run right away, and people had just, like, continually replayed the game and out of their own curiosity, like, realized they could do this. Like, I could see that like, if you actually lived the experience Flowey did, then it would have way more impact than just, like, playing through the game and then immediately playing through and killing everybody the second time.
That's what goes back to what I was saying earlier. I think Undertale really suffers from, like, its own success, because like, once you know all these, like, little intricacies, it robs it of the
and it was all discovered
so
so quickly because the game was so successful.
I mean, I don't think it's that surprising that, like, you play it through, you do a normal run, the game strongly hints at you with, like, the encounter with Sans at the end that, like, you need to play this game without killing anyone. Then you go and you do that, and, like, the obvious next step is to, what if I killed everyone? Right.
I mean, for what it's worth, I did Pacifist my first run through, so, like Tom said, it's robbed to some degree by the fact that, like, I mean, it says right on the page you don't have to kill anyone in the game, and as for me, I had played the demo, accidentally killed Goat Mom, and then when I played through regularly, I just knew not to make that mistake, and so it was like, it was very easy to do a pacifist run when you know that that's a thing you can do. And I don't think that was unintentional. I think that you were meant to be able to just play this game on pacifist naturally and then come back to the game trying to play it again and just start experimenting. Like, I really do think he thought you would take longer.
Play it normal and then do. I think the game wants you to get pacifist on your second playthrough. I don't think it wants you to get it right away.
That might also be true. I just think that I don't think that they intended for it to, that Toby intended for it to be that, like, you would just go straight to genocide. That, like, you would know about that.
And, I'm curious. When you kill Toriel, like, quote unquote accidentally, you don't realize. Then you, like, reset, and Flowey says, "Haha, I know what you did." Right. Does that count as a pacifist run if you then don't kill Toriel?
I believe it does count as a pacifist run.
Okay. Because what I was imagining is that is the first point, like, that would be a great point to, like, make it so that beyond that point, it's going to be a neutral run no matter how much pacifism you do.
Yeah, like you can only, like, a true pacifist run is one where you don't kill anyone and then reset. Like, that also counts against it.
Yeah.
Because you killed them in an alternate timeline or something. That would have made it a lot harder to find. I mean, people probably would have found it pretty easily, but...
Are the terms pacifist run and genocide run even in the game? Or is that something...
Because it's just community.
I think that just further proves the point that, like, the whole game, like, from a meta perspective, has kind of, like, hurt itself, you know? Because, like, I think this whole idea of doing a genocide run and a pacifist run or whatever, because it's been so, like, codified, it ruins the natural progression of how you would otherwise engage with the game, like, in a vacuum.
It sucks, though, because, like so many games have cool, mysterious things like this. that it is difficult to experience for yourself if they're hidden, because not everybody is going to be like that explorative. You're going to find out about these things from other people saying, dude, did you hear you could do this and that? And then this happens? Like, oh no. And then you've lost that potential experience of having found it for yourself.
Right.
And it's like, there's so... I thought Mage was here for a second.
Oh my god, Mage. Mage said something.
It's like...
she's alive.
It's really like one of those, like, try not to get spoiled things, like a magical, like, impossible, very unlikely feeling that you would get from having experienced it, quote, blind or the right way. It's very difficult. I think it's more that it's rare to have that experience, not that it's a technically better experience. Like, people always imagine, like, oh, if only I had, like, found this instead of been told about it. But they sort of yearn for something that is unlikely to have happened.
You're right, because, like,
it's not necessarily
if you're not
good.
told about it, you might not ever find it at all. You know? I never would have found Ash Lake, ever. You know, I didn't. And the odds of me ever actually finding it naturally are, like, basically zero. But there is something, like, really cool about, like, because, like, we, as people who play video games a lot, there's, like, a language to video games that you understand. And so when you play a game, like, usually within, like, an hour or less of playing, you can kind of get an idea of, like, okay, this is what it is, this is, like, what's going to work, this is what's not going to work in the game. Like, there's a system, because it's, you know, it's a simulation, so there are limitations that you understand intrinsically after you've experienced them enough. So, like, anytime there's a game that does something interesting or, like, outside of that expected system, or does something or uses that system in a way that isn't completely clear, is really kind of just, I don't want to say magical, but, like, really enhances the experience. Like, just as a given example, like, I'm playing Darksiders 2 right now, which I think is really cool. I haven't really been looking up guides or anything for it, because I don't know anything about it. I'm just kind of having a good time, just doing it in my off time. And there's, like, something that's happened twice now that I haven't bothered looking up because I don't want to ruin it for me. But, like, there's just been 2 separate rooms in dungeons where, like, there's this weird creature walking around that's, like, almost completely transparent. You can barely see it. It's just, like, a very faint outline. And I thought, the first time I saw it, I thought the game was glitching. So I just started, like, attacking it, and nothing happened. But eventually the character says, like, oh, this isn't going to work. So the game, like, acknowledges this isn't a glitch. This is supposed to be here. There's some way to, like, engage with this enemy, but we're not going to tell you what it is. And there's nothing in the game that explains what this phenomena is. It's not like it handholds you. So there's just, like, a little mystery in the back of my mind that I've run into, like, 2 or 3 times while just playing the game. And I have no idea what it is or what it means, but there's an answer somewhere in the game. And it's just kind of interesting that it keeps recurring, and I don't know what it is yet.
What game is this?
Darksiders 2.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a Zelda-like kind of, like, action-adventure game. It's like if you took, like, the puzzles and, like, dungeons of Zelda and put, like, God of War style combat in it. It's pretty cool.
Have you played all 3 of them
Very edgy
so far, Tom?
I've only played the second one.
Okay.
I played a little bit of the first one. I didn't like it very much.
I played the
2
first.
is really good.
Dude, I played, like, probably 70% of that game, and then just was like, I can't fucking, this is boring. But I've heard
The thing that killed it for me was that
completely different from it, and both better. But, like, different people like different ones. I know Jimquisition was, like, mad into the third game, right? Or is he the opposite?
No, he hated it. He hated the third one. He liked the second one.
There was somebody, K-Bash maybe was who. Do you watch K-Bash?
I don't.
You would like him.
That is.
Look him up. Just K-Bash.
I'm talking about Nuzlocke like a fucking bitch. I'm talking about Nuzlocke like they're hard.
In fact, K-Bash
What
would
a fucking
probably
pussy.
be a good guest on the PCP. So
I don't know who that is.
You should watch him. He's a video game review guy. He's funny and good.
I forgot we were listening to a podcast, and I almost went to the YouTube tab and searched K-Bash and left this video.
Another guy who I kind of want to ask if he wants to be on is Running Shine. I don't know. That's another guy. He's had a couple biggish videos, but he's not that big a channel. And his was the video that I saw. The first one I watched about Y2K was his. He's really funny. I like him a lot. I love you. Mwah.
Yeah, in many ways, I would say, like, K-Bash is not as like funny or using skits the way Gibbon does, but like in the absence of there being hypocrite videos, I feel like K-Bash is the next best thing, and like for talking about fucking like weird PS2 games and just like forgotten franchises and stuff like that.
I have been
cool.
feeling lately that I am upset that there aren't more me's making videos the way I did. Because I rewatched my Rayman series and I was like, wow, some of these jokes are good and I was funny.
I see he's got a couple of videos about Mana, the Mana series.
Yes, he covered the whole Mana
which there is
series.
There's a dearth of discussion about those on the internet, so I'm gonna bookmark those.
Yep.
See what
he did the birth of Secret of Mana, the cruel death of Mana, and then Trials of Mana. I think all three in a row.
I'm gonna check those out.
But yeah, I patron him, so he's a cool guy.
It's funny talking about Darksiders. Darksiders 1. You said you played almost all of that?
Yeah, I played most of it.
Oh my god. I dropped it like within an hour because I played the beginning and I remember thinking, oh, the combat in this game is like not very involved. There's like no real combos or anything. And then you beat the tutorial and then it's like, oh, you've lost all your abilities, Metroid style. Now your combat's like even worse. I'm like, I'm done. Nope, I can't do this.
I just remember like everybody had said it's like God of War and Legend of Zelda, and I'm like, well, I love God of War and Legend of Zelda, so I'll try it. And I was trying it, and I was like, well, it's obviously worse than either of those, but it's not so much worse that it doesn't still have the same basic appeal as those two games. But like, it's so fucking long-winded. Like, it was clearly like they wanted it to be a big 20-hour Zelda game, but they did not have 20 hours worth of fucking ideas, you know? So I just got tired of it eventually. And when you start getting into like the really gimmicky levels later on and stuff, all of them are garbage.
Yeah, Darksiders 2's only had like it's pretty much like God of War, Zelda dungeons, and then like the loot aspect of like a Diablo. And that's basically what it is. And there's lots of just like dungeons you go into and stuff, and it's kind of grindy in that way. But like instead of like a Diablo grind where you're just clicking and clicking and clicking, like the combat has some finesse to it, so it's a bit more interesting. And the loot lets you spec your guy a little bit differently, so you can focus on different skills and things. So you can kind of build your own guy that way, which is pretty cool. But there was like one gimmicky part where like you go to Earth and it just gives you a gun and it becomes like a really bad shooter for like half an hour, and that was terrible. But that was like the only bad part so far. Darksiders 2
I might give it a go. If I ever come in, I mean,
play it on
it's
PC,
probably like
60 FPS.
I'm sure you can buy it for like $6, right?
I like,
dude, get it on G2A for $1.92 like I do.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I like what we're arguing about in the podcast.
What are we talking about?
Did you saying Segu instead of Segway? We all got really mad and it was funny.
Oh, those were the days. I still remember. It looks like it's said that way, you know?
It really is.
I still say iron.
It's back to Dark Souls again. It was really funny for a few seconds there. And then now we're analyzing Dark Souls yet again.
Dark Souls really was the 9/11 of video games.
Yeah, pretty much.
Dark Souls really was the fall of the Reichstag for the AAA gaming industry.
I think the 9/11 is a good analogy because everything changed after Dark Souls.
Well, the 9/11 was also the burning of the Reichstag for the modern era. So really, it's like it's an Ouroboros of metaphors that all feed into each other.
You know, I love my Ouroboroses of metaphors.
My Ouroboros.
Ouroboros.
All linked in a chain.
An Ouroboros daisy chain.
All linked in a chain, and then the chains, the Ouroboros chains that all link together, you form a big circle that's continually rotating. And then you link those circles with more, and it just builds out and out, and it's Ouroboros all the way down. Ah, beautiful. I think I've said this before. I played Dark Souls 1. I got halfway through Dark Souls 2. And I like picked up a little bit and played a little bit of Bloodborne. And that's all I've ever played. I never played Dark Souls 3.
Dark Souls 3 is pretty good Bloodborne. For a playthrough or two.
I tried playing 2. 2 is so bad.
I just feel like, I understand the appeal of the combat. And I did find it fun.
I haven't figured it out yet.
but I kind of like get it. I kind of get. It's like, I don't know. Matthew Matosis talks about how like it's all like a dodge and punish, and like yeah, it kind of is. It's like, do I need to
I'm
fight every
done
boss
with
to
it
feel
as
like I
well.
get? Yeah.
Like I've played Dark Souls 1 so many times, made so many characters, played the game so many ways. Things that I haven't tried is like a purely like magic build, because I don't like the magic that much. It's like I don't really care to do like pointless challenge runs anymore. It's fine. I know the game. It's done. I'll come back to it in 50 years.
Hell yeah.
I mean, for me, it's easier to just return to Sekiro because I still actually haven't learned it enough. Like, not that I ever mastered Dark Souls or anything, but like I had come back to Dark Souls 3 recently and just kind of plowed my way through the first area and was like, the only way this game's going to be interesting again is if I start doing challenge runs, and I don't want to, so I just need to learn how to beat Sekiro.
Sekiro's cool, but like, I mean, I haven't played it
I got
myself.
much better at it when I realized that like the parrying is not about precision, it's about just mashing the parry button. Like that changed my life because
it's like the Metal Gear Rising parrying.
Yeah,
it's just like not about finesse.
It's like I thought I had to press like an exact right moment. You kind of do, but if you just mash the button, you will hit that moment. Like it's
you're not punished
right.
for missing.
You're not committed to every action you do like you are in Dark Souls. Like that's I think the biggest difference is like, or you are, but like if something interrupts it, they're more likely to get interrupted from fucking something up as opposed to like accidentally hitting attack and then getting stuck in a long ass animation or something like that, or a parry rather. Because in Dark Souls, if you parry and miss, you're fucking like you're dead,
Yeah.
It sucks so much that they got rid of the Prepare to Die edition off Steam.
I did do that.
What was good about the Prepare to Die edition?
Well, that was just the PC edition, with the DLC attached, and they replaced all of Dark Souls 1 that you could buy with the remaster, which is a downgrade in very many respects that people have talked about at length. It just is an ugly piece of shit remaster that sucks.
Hell yeah.
And that's the only one you can buy. Like, I don't understand why.
It's very strange. Most
they
of the time
got
they do
rid
remasters,
of the
they
original.
give you the remaster for free.
But you can't get it on Steam anymore. I have it on Steam,
Wow.
but you can't buy it
Bandai Namco
anymore.
just wanted to milk that shit. Fucking gross.
Why couldn't they milk people would buy the original if they wanted to buy it?
It's very bizarre.
Like, why?
I guess because
not
if
even
they
more
leave
expensive.
the original out there, then it leads to the suggestion that the other one is worse or not. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck these people think.
Is they think in Japanese, and that's the problem.
Genjitsu Toriso, Yohazama Yaraida, Jonatsuwa Kono no Kia Kakata, Cho Tomata, Cho Tomata. That's all they're talking about all day.
Tomato.
That's just from Soft HQ all day.
Soft HQ?
Wait, what was that? Was that like World Ends With You?
No, it's from Eureka 7, the second OP.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Good stuff.
God, there's so much anime as well. It's too much media.
Frankly, a little too much media. I think we're in need of a culling.
I agree.
Really? It's true.
Speaking of, what media have you guys
doing,
been
like,
looking at? Yeah, what did you say?
Nothing.
Your
Nothing.
content. Nate said he was borrowing or using the Tales from the Bottom aspect to make almost a look at this shit anime and see if it's good show. I think you've done one of those.
Tales from the Bottom?
Yeah,
It was a thing Nate asked me to make a logo for, and I was like, I can't make logos. Don't ask me to make a logo. And he says, come on, I did.
He did, in fact, use the logo on our content episode that is based on the same premise. So, like...
What is Tales
basically,
from the Bottom?
It's Tales from the Bottom of the MAL seasonal anime chart, so the things that people vote the least good.
Yeah, the idea is we just review whatever is the most poorly rated show on MAL of that season. And we did that for this season with a show called Ninja Collection.
But that sounds so cool.
Unfortunately,
makes
it's
sense,
not.
yeah.
But yeah,
God damn it!
As you
Why
will
we
see,
doing Ninjas dirty
we are
again?
still using the logo.
God, I hate that logo. It's so
Ninjas
bad.
peaked with Shinobi
Wait,
PS2
post
anyways.
it. I want to
I
see
just
it.
did.
Post. Oh, there it is. Oh, I mean, it's fine.
It's fine. It's just sort of like scrappy.
Tell Nate to stop using it then.
Yeah, I don't really care too much.
I mean, it's too small to work.
As a thumbnail.
Like, you can't read it at thumbnail
Right,
size.
That's the issue with it.
I would encourage Nate to look for someone else to draw a replacement.
You're talking about Avatar?
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
My roommates have been watching Korra lately. I've never seen Korra. I'm not interested.
It's okay.
There's a few good moments in Korra seasons. I like season 3.
Sure.
What was the monk guy who was in like the 3rd season or something? Zaire.
The
He was
monk,
fucking
the
based.
airbending villain in the 3rd
Yeah,
season,
He's
and his
fucking
troop
sick.
of evil doers are really cool.
Everything else is all right.
Tenzin is the best character in the show. Lol, hooray! Everyone
Tenzin's pretty
agrees.
Oh my god, it's almost over.
What?
We made it.
Holy shit!
That's a fitting note to go out on.
Well, there we go.
Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe. Remember to Patreon. Remember to SpeakPipe.
Dude, there wasn't even a Patreon back then.
Oh my god.
Remember?
There wasn't.
That's so fucked. Why would we ever do this if we weren't getting paid?
No, we're all crazy.
We actually
do
were
way too
all
much work for
really
free.
friends for a while there. Strange to think about, but
I kind of want to know the progression of, because we all said, like Nate said goodbye, and then we all just said yeah goodbye.
Yeah, we didn't do
That
the whole.
definitely
We didn't do
escalated.
the whole bye thing yet.
What?
No, that grew organically.
And now none of us knows how to end anything without doing it.
No.
yeah.
I mean, you have to be definitive. You have to leave no doubt about this is the end of the podcast. Stop listening.
Get the
I think
fuck
it's just
Get the fuck
something-
outta here and
Something
hit the
about
subscribe
making the
button.
sustained noise. It like turns your own brain off to do it. It's like
And if everyone goes bye, it flows into the dun
yeah,
dun
that's
dun,
true.
dun 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 dun
Yeah.
dun.
There is an art to
dun.
it for sure.
Well,
Absolutely.
that was the first episode of the Pro Crastinators podcast that we sort of kind of listened to.
Seemed like it was.
What did we
It
think?
seemed like it was pretty all right for a discussion of current events of the time, such as Undertale.
I think we
really-
went over a lot of, like, if obviously nowadays we've said these things millions of times, but this was the first time a lot of this stuff had been said by us.
It's weird. It's a little bit like a time capsule, like going back and hearing what we were talking about back then, and yet at the same time it's uncomfortably like, boy, not that much has
No, yeah.
changed. I feel like if we talked about it today, it wouldn't be that
Well, it feels
different.
like we would just
Yeah,
be having
exactly
the
the
next
same.
step in the conversation as though we had not forgot. Like, I think that's just something all of us have, though, is that like we're people who like are very good at picking up the thread exactly where we left off, even if it's been like 8 months, you know, because
Yeah.
like time just passes
Yeah,
differently
yeah.
for us, I think, than for normal people.
So what you're saying is we need to do the Procrastinators remastered. We have to go through like the first 10 episodes and do them all over
that's-
again.
That's what this. If we do more of
Procrastinators
these,
Yep,
reprocrasters.
let's spend the next 10 years of our careers reacting to the first 10 years of our careers.
let's do like Tails Gets Trolled and do PCP polished, where we just
Yeah.
The PC Polish
Make-
project.
PC polished, where we just make longer versions of remaking the same ones.
Cresta-polished.
Yes, please. Did you know what I'm talking? You know about polished?
I did not, but I can imagine.
That was an attempted remake of Tails Gets Trolled that was called Tails Gets Trolled Polished, where Laserbot just went
Why?
back and just was gonna make it again but longer. I don't know. Nobody knows.
Frustrating.
Are we? Is that have we come to the end?
I forgot we were still recording. All right, everybody.
It's true.
Bye.
Thanks for patroning. See you next time. Bye.
Later.
Dun, 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 dun.